Tansei Adventures. I'm Todd Lyons, and today I thought we would try to do something. Yeah, let's start another different series because I don't have enough on the go right now. And, well, depending on how this goes, we'll see whether we make another one. But the intention is that I try something new. So, my book, Chrysogon's Coterie, it's about 15 months old. Yeah. And just now, it's gone through enough processes, quality control, flow, editing, all the steps that it takes to take a draft and add the artwork and the polish to make it something that's suitable for sale on Amazon or some such. So it's made me reflect on that process and what I enjoyed most about it. And it made me reflect on art. Because one of the most wonderful things about being an author is being in the enviable position to have this thing that you've written that really it needs the artwork to sort of come alive and to be in the position where you can look at all the brilliant creations by all these wonderful artists and choose which of those things you think matches the feeling, the personality that you're trying to evoke in the characters that you've created. So, yeah. It was a difficult experience, but also a wonderful experience because I love how art and words work together. The book actually started, I don't know, I've been thinking about writing this book since I was 10. 10. But it was actually my daughter's own artwork that she was creating at the time. Doesn't do a lot of fantasy stuff, but she veered in that direction and made several drawings, which I just thought were wonderful. And she really wanted to have them published. And I thought maybe this is the kick in the pants that I've needed to sit down and actually hash this book out. But with only 3 drawings, there wasn't much to go on because, like I said, it's not really her area. But she made these wonderful things which do appear in the book. So, of course, I went back to basicfantasy.org. I looked at the arts threads there, saw all this amazing stuff, made a folder. So I just want to have a look at all the artists that I use, that I admire, that have an opportunity to have a deep dive and look at their stuff. Because, yeah, there are so many talented people with this project, and I feel so grateful to have been able to put their work together with mine to make something wonderful together. And I was thinking, who's the best person to do that with first? And it makes me think of the person that agreed to do the cover for Chrysogon's Coterie. Thinking back to just being a regular user, just a forum member on basicfantasy.org, I was amazed. I looked at the art threads and the stuff that was just sitting there that hadn't been published. And I was a little shocked that Gabe Fua had never had a cover. The thing is, we just don't publish that many books. So there has to be something, there has to be an opportunity for people to be able to be featured. And as a person that had this book, that was my hope, was that this person whose work I admired so deeply and who hadn't had a cover yet would agree to do the cover for my book. But he was much more well established on the forum than I was. I'm a relative newcomer to the gaming system, 3 years, not quite 4. And actually, I was pretty nervous. I didn't actually have the guts to go up to him, so I sort of did the roundabout thing. I went to our Facebook group. I posted a message that this is what I was looking for, and he, God bless him, he proactively sent me a private message, just communicating his interest or his excitement about the new book, which gave me all the opportunity I needed to just sort of just tell him how I felt and ask if he would do it. And I was so grateful when he said yes. So even though I love a lot of artists, this just makes the most sense to start with Gabe because, he jumped in when I was a nobody and listened to me and honestly tried to execute what I was asking and did a great job. And he's just amazing. So a lot of what you'll see today, actually, it wasn't purpose made for my book. I'll point out those when we get to them. but many of these actually are from his own personal campaigns that he runs and for players that he has in his group. And this is one of those exceptions. But when I saw this, I just wanted to have it. And one of the amazing things about Gabe, and there's a long list of amazing things about Gabe, is that he does so many strong, fierce, powerful, confident looking female characters. And I really wanted to have a good gender balance in the book that I was creating. And so what he offered was a treasure trove of women like this. I don't want to crap all over the 70s D&D, but you know that a lot of those pictures from that era, they may have appealed to me as a 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever year old boy. As a father with adult children, and one's, 2 out of 3 adults and one just on the cusp, who had hopes for my children, still do, that they would grow up into strong, independent women that are not just a piece of meat. This is something that resonates me as an older person. This is what I want to think about in my fantasy world. Not cheesecake, I want to see power. I want to see confidence. And that's what Gabe gives me with his work. This actually, I think he submitted as part of a door contest. It was a door-themed contest. And, yeah, I don't know where else it was going to be used, or if it was going to be used. I don't know whose idea it was to have a door-related contest. I guess it's one of those good generic things that's good to have just in your supply of art. But I saw it. I loved it. I took it. I like Gabe's variability. And with the stuff that I've selected that I chose for the book, you'll see everything from this, which has a really soft, almost polished background of grays, to the very stark black and white drawings, to the really kind of rough work in progress look of some. And they can all be brilliant in their own way. And I don't think I've ever looked at a Gabe drawing and thought, or at least one that he didn't identify as being a work in progress. Like if he's not satisfied with something, sure, I can get on board with that. But I chose some of his rougher style drawings because I just liked the energy. I liked the way that they look. Anything that just evokes something in you as a writer, as a person, as a fan of this genre. Yeah. You don't have to get too deep into, like, is it too polished? Is it too rough? Is it whatever? Just look at every drawing for what it is and just appreciate it. Here's an example, not the roughest of the ones that I've seen, but you can see it looks like it's a pencil sketch in progress. But I like it. I like that I can see like light lines, almost like he was planning the size of the torso, and then he went a little thinner, a little bit more tapered, but he just left it. And it's great. It's great the way that it is. Look at the expression. Look at the way that she's almost staring down that fiery arrow at you. Like, it's like she's both aiming, but yeah. She looks like she could shoot that arrow at you if she wants to, but she's going to just put it just past you, just so you can feel the heat as it whips on by. Don't you love it when you look at a picture and it makes you feel something? It tells a story. You feel like you're being pulled into it because you can make a connection with the eyes that are staring back at you, and it makes you a character. And that's exactly why we play role-playing games, because you want to have that sense of being part of the action. Yeah. Okay. This is, probably always will be, one of the best drawings of a halfling I've ever seen. And I think the first time I saw this, he had a ring in his hand, because he's evocative of a certain famous trilogy of stories by quite a remarkable English author. I'm assuming that that was added as a layer, which you can just make invisible and run it off again. Actually, I'm not sure which tools he used to draw this, but a lot of drawing stuff uses layers where you can add and delete things just by turning them on or off, their visibility. But because there's no ring in his hand, it to me kind of suggests its attitude. It's like, yeah, come on, yeah. What do you got? What do you got? So when I saw that drawing, I thought, this guy, he he has a playful, friendly rivalry with someone, and I just had to figure out which two characters those were. And yeah, I found I found the perfect person to pair him with, and I was so thrilled that I could sort of appropriate this drawing because yeah, it's so marvelous, well done. It just oozes so much personality. Oh, okay. So when I was talking to Gabe to start with, we talked about the cover. It had three principal characters, which had to be on the cover, but he also did individual portraits for each of them for the book. But then he asked after that, much to my delight, if there were any other characters that I thought would be fun or important to add to the book. And this is a magic user. I'm not even going to tell you his name because that's part of the thing that I've got going in the book is that he began life as an adventurer, and he retired, I guess, and sort of became a performer that would just go around to county fairs and such, and dazzle people with his pyrotechnics and stuff. And the running gag in the book is that so many people have seen him and been influenced by him, but very few people actually remember his name, including the character that appears right before him in the book, which makes reference to this amazing magic user, which they can't quite make the name of. So anyway, I don't think I gave any particular description as to how I wanted this person to look, but I know Gabe reads, and I'm sure he just, I don't know, he got a sense for who this person might be, sort of a adventurer turned, thespian, sort of theatrical personality, and just poured that so marvelously into this drawing. Love it. Love it. Here's one of the rougher drawings that, even though you could polish it, why would you? Because so much about it just is perfect the way that it is. Yeah, I like the ferocity of the expression, the way that that sword is right there, plunging upwards into the mouth of this dragon. The furrowed brow, the expression of intensity, the leaning forward, the physics of it. Everything about it is just marvelous. I love it. And to be honest, with some of the sizes that we have in books for art, you have to squeeze things down to the point where sometimes I wonder for things like all these little lines there, how much of that actually pops off the page when you have to shrink something down to make it fit. So there really is a place for all kinds of styles. And I like the variability in Gabe's work, from this highly polished, gray tone stuff to the stark black and white, to this kind of the rougher stuff. And here we go. We're back to this again. Very polished, just soft lighting and darkness and shadows, and just the amazing amount of detail on the satchel here and on the book. I guess I'll see when I actually hold this in my hand, like how much of that pops off the page at me. But I love being able to look at these both on a big monitor, but I'm also keen to see them in a book because, yeah, I don't know, I can appreciate this in any format, but it's nice to be able to see it large, to get a full sense of just the amount of love and care that he puts into to making art. Yeah, yeah, lovely. Fierce. And just, yeah, she's got a dagger, she's got a long sword, a bow. Just brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. Again, there's a demon there. She's plunging a dagger straight up into its abdomen. Looking straight up with this very intense look. I wanted to write really good female characters in this book, and I didn't have to look very hard at all to find, the perfect characters that matched the descriptions that I was making. I love this picture. What a trippy background. And I knew exactly who this was as soon as I saw this because I'd written a group of siblings, three characters that they kind of specialized in a certain type of magic, and hers was fire. So to have this picture of her holding this globe, this ball of fire, yeah, I knew who that was, and I know where to put her. And then it was just a sense of, okay, now how do I find her siblings? Because I want them to. Okay. So, like the mage there, this was another one of ones that when he asked, I said, this would be a fun one to try to execute. And it's kind of a challenge because she's a high priestess, and as part of her the doctrine of her religion, the high priests and priestesses do not adorn themselves with clothing. It's a symbol of purity and openness, and so you had to strategically depict this person to both be in compliance with the rules of the religion, but also something that you could print in a book that's going to be seen by all ages. I seem to recall that Solo, Chris Gonerman, he didn't. He was kind of wondering also how this was going to turn out, but I think in the end we're all quite satisfied that it's tastefully done. Yeah, isn't it kind of fun to like throw up a challenge with someone that you know that's totally up to it and that they will execute something brilliant and just see how they get around it. And he did. I had no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, love it. He does good thieves. Actually, I'm not sure which characters he does poorly. I don't think any. But I like the intensity. He when there's evil, emotions, I think, is a very strong thing for Gabe. He can communicate very well through facial expressions, and you can see the purity of the kind characters, and you can also see just the wretchedness of the evil ones. And I think he does this brilliantly in this picture. She's wholesome. I think this is another one of the characters that he created for his own players group, which, yes, as I mentioned earlier, I was only too happy to steal. Oh, yeah. Lovely. Owlbear. Just, I can see a teardrop in his eye there. Just the horror of what you're witnessing, realizing it's probably too late for this person. Okay. So this is Willow. Willow is one of the three principal characters that I wanted to be featured on the front of the book. So Blossom and Chrysogon were the other ones. But it was amazing to watch this process come together of him just figuring out what the look of this character would be. And even from this early stage, I was so pleased with how things were going to look. I loved the sort of the kindness and the vulnerability in her eyes, and I like the badass weapon. I love this mace here with it's not just a club. It actually has like sharp like blades circling around it, and I thought, man, she could seriously mess someone up with that. And I love everything about that. This is not a piece of decoration. This is not just, and it's not ridiculously huge. I cannot stand when I see a weapon that's ridiculously too large, or you could not even swing it because it's the size and the weight of the person's torso practically. But Gabe is very good at creating weapons that are both appropriately sized and designed, but also they look very, very deadly. And yeah, I was over the moon when I saw this. I was so pleased to see the final thing. Yep, lovely halfling girl. Does good halflings. I like the freckles. There's something about, like, she looks both deadly and wholesome at the same time. And I like the dichotomy that sort of does, that forces my brain into. These, again, I'm not sure if these are characters from his, whether this is for his own campaign or where this came from, but I liked the confrontation here. I liked the giant has started looking side-eyed at the mage, but meanwhile, there's the halfling girl with the double dagger ready to plunge it straight into his into his chest. Brilliant. Love it. Okay. So I knew who this was as soon as I saw her. So I'm a social worker by education and by career, and there's a social work component sort of written into the book, just because, A book is an expression of its author and their experiences, their feelings, and their background. And Chrysogon's could not be more autobiographical. If It's not even intentional. It just you make what you are. You create who you are. So I wanted to have at least one character here, which was a child who needed to be taken out of a bad situation, and that's who this person is. So what I love about this picture is how she's surrounded by all these tools. Like she's got scrolls, she's got a book. Um, it's an education that she's receiving that she would not have otherwise been given had she stayed where she was before. So I like the redemption. I like the salvation. I like the aspect. I like that this picture, to me, when I look at it, tells a story that I'd already written, and that I could take that person and plug them into that story, and that they would just fit seamlessly in a way that Gabe never imagined. But every every bit of art probably says something different to the person that looks at it. So this told me what I wanted to hear, and I knew exactly what to do with it. Ah, I love the contrast. I love the silver, the white webs against the stark background. The scale between the halfling and the spider. The half lit pillar and peering around. Just marvelous, marvelous. I knew who this was also. Uh, it was easy with the main characters just to sort of cherry pick and decide, okay, I know who you are and I know who you are. Um, yeah, this is one of the do-gooders. Very well-connected individual that, yeah, is coming into a sense of his own greatness, but even he does not realize necessarily like how great he will become with the passage of time. So, yeah, this was a perfect portrait for a person coming into their own destiny. Okay, so here's Blossom, the second of the three characters on the front cover, and yeah, her and Willow grew up together. They have a very close relationship. It's been difficult on them because they're very different people, but they also really need and rely on each other. And yeah, I loved everything about this. So yeah, there they are. There's two of them. And of course, Chrysogon. Uh, yeah, let's look at this one first because this is the first thing that I saw as he was still sort of figuring out how everyone's going to look and how it was all going to fit together. I would have been okay with bald or the way that he ended up looking. I really loved the braided beard. That was super cool. But yeah, I had no doubt that I was going to be. Well, I knew even before he started drawing that Gabe would deliver brilliantly because he's just yeah, talented guy, hard worker, totally plugged into what yeah to what he reads and to what I would tell him. Even down in the corner here, there's a mock-up of what the cover was going to look like when it got to that point. The look wasn't quite 100%, but the framing, where everyone was and relative to each other, it was already figured out by that time. So yeah, I love this. His attitude, the way that he has just a steely gaze, like straight into your soul as he's looking at you. I love the chair, the table. I love that he seems to be working on the book, which is the book that you will read, the book with all the biographies in it. And I love that I can see the word CMC there, very large. Yeah, it's the attention to detail. It's just wonderful. Okay, and now we've looped around. So let's look at the cover stuff because that bears some examination. So here's an early mock-up with the text, the font thrown up there, just to sort of give a sense of the composition, how everything was going to fit together. But even from this stage, I really loved how it was looking. I loved the expressions on the women. Um, I even loved the way that they were sort of oriented, sort of towards each other. In the later revisions, he decided to sort of turn in a different direction and look away, which I suppose is more plausible because you have to suspend disbelief that that Chrysogon could be up there on the roof watching what was going on down below, and that these two, with her orientation of her head in the first picture there, she probably would get some sense in her field of vision that she was being watched. So turning away was probably the better thing to do. So here's that starting to come together in a more polished form. Chrysogon looks perfect. Like he's already finished, other than the color. And Blossom, coming along. So here's a cropped version of what was the final bit. You can see a bit of green cloak on either side that belongs to characters that you can't see. It was cut very narrow like this to fit the old style 3rd edition basic fantasy covers, where there was the border that went around all 4 sides around the art. And now for 4th edition, it's changed so that the border actually runs around the spine and around the back. And I am really hoping, it's not my decision, I guess, but I would really like it to be widened more, because I don't really see a purpose for the ginormous black bars that we have. Now that we've changed the border pattern on the front there, I've struggled. I have got issues with balance and composition and such. And when I bought my 4th edition basic fantasy role-playing game core rules, I had to put stickers in the black bar there because it was driving me batty to just see that big black bar just sitting there. I would love the art to be able to creep a little bit further left and fill up some of that space, as much of it as possible. I'd be happy if it could stretch even to the spine. And there's a little closer still. It's not the font that we went with, but again, it's just to sort of give a sense of what's going on. Here's a mock-up of the cover. It's using the style of that's used on Equipment Emporium as far as the what's up above there. But again, it's just sort of give a sense of how it would look. This is an orange color that I loved, that Gabe made as a mock-up. This is the gold color that's used on the core books. And I really love this orange color. We were trying to find something that was both unique, but also was in a good visual spectrum for all kinds of people to look at it. So after a while, it started to get confusing, so I did this side-by-side comparison just to give a sense for everyone how it was looking. So that was Solo Orange, which I thought was a bit too orange. Gabe's Electric Orange, which I thought was totally cool. And then Rulebook Gold, which was not allowed to use because Chrysogon's Coterie is not a core book. It's a table book, but it's technically it's a supplement. It's kind of outside of the official stuff, but because it's a good, useful tool, it's going to be published anyway, but it needed to have its own color, and we went with this. I think we had 9 colors to start with. This was one of them. I even had my wife have a look, and this is the one that she, of 2 that she liked. So anyway, yeah. And there we go. So this is how it's going to look, with the exception of there'll be a black bar there when it's modified to wrap around the cover. I'd really like it to sort of grow a little, like for the art to be widened so that we can see more of what we're missing, and there's less of a black bar on the front. But in the end, I'll just be happy to have created something that goes out into the world and is used by people and enjoyed, because that's all we really want, right? And yeah, we'll have to update that copyright line there, because that's still the old style open game license, which technically when I published this in 2022, it still was. We still were there. We were about 2 months away from the OGL debacle. But it's now relicensed Creative Commons, Attribution Share Alike. So that's me. That's me talking about Gabe Fua. He's awesome. Would you like me to look at some more artists? Let me know in the comments. Thank you. I'm grateful for you for being with me here today. Until next time.